Hi everyone. Today we have Boomer, the cost segregation specialist that you might know him because we used him before for our services and for other presentations. Today we are going to discuss with Boomer cost segregation for a mobile home park. This specific deal that we are closing on next month, we actually own the lot, so we don't own on any of the homes. All of the homes are basically resident-owned homes. And let's hear from Boomer. How will the cost segregation look like in a case that you only own the land, the pads, and the servicing leading to the homes that are owned by the residents?
All right, thank you. So if you can see on this box up here, the 5-year, 7-year, 15-year, and 27.5-year, the difference between a mobile home park and a multifamily property, like an apartment complex or something like that, is because you do not own the homes, you're going to have less 5-year property. So the 5-year property is normally things like your flooring, your molding, your kitchens, your bathrooms, your lighting, things like that. But you don't have that. However, you do have the electrical hookups, the plumbing hookups. All things like that are going to go into the 5-year property. So we're on a typical apartment complex, you'd probably be looking at in the 15 to 20% in the 5-year, but here you're going to have probably about 5%. However, the beauty of mobile home parks is there is a ton of 15-year property. 15-year property is normally going to be things like your parking lot, your landscaping, any kind of exterior signs, fences, or walls. However, you're going to have a lot of driveways, roadways on a mobile home park property. So therefore, the 15-year, we always try to be conservative in our estimates, but you're probably going to have even greater than 15% 15-year property. So mobile home parks normally have way more upside in terms of 15-year, but when you don't own the homes, your 5-year is going to be a little bit lower. However, even on this property here, so we got your building cost about $340,000. That's going to be your purchase price, excluding the land. And then by being able to accelerate this stuff into the 5-year and the 15-year, again, this goes back to whenever Trump released the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act in 2017. Any asset with a class life of less than 20 years, you can take 100% bonus depreciation on and reap it all in year 1. So 5 and 15-year are both less than 20, so they both qualify for 100% bonus depreciation. So we are estimating here we can pull forward an additional $67,000 of depreciation expense into tax year 2020. Now, this property is not set to close until December 2020. So if you do not do a cost seg study, if you decide that you either don't know about it, you're not educated on it, or you decide not to do it, you're only going to have, $517 of depreciation expense because your straight line depreciation is prorated for only 1 month or less than 1 month out of the year. However, by doing the cost seg study, instead of having the $517, you're instead going to have $68,000. So that's why you have a difference of $67,897 of additional depreciation expense to be used in year 1. So whenever you buy a property late in the year, by doing a cost seg study for that year, you're able to really reap the benefit of depreciation expense, whereas you would not had you done straight line depreciation.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense. So basically, instead of prorating and getting, if you like, $517 only for that year because you're closing in December, you can actually have a big chunk that allows you through the bonus depreciation that could be utilized. So it's a very, very significant amount and will offset a lot of income that will be.
That's correct. And then even though the income from this property probably won't be that much for tax year 2020 because you're only owning it for a few weeks, all of your properties are going to be aggregated together. So the savings from this mobile home park can offset income from some of your other properties as well.
Other properties and also businesses, if the businesses own shares within the within the mobile home park entity.
Correct.
So that's something that, it could be an individual circumstances. So you need to consult with your CPA, but that's something that it's a great benefit by doing cost segregation. Now, Boomer, I got a question. I noticed that you said building costs $340,000. Now, in reality, as far as I look at it, we don't have any buildings over there. We only have the infrastructure, if you like, and the things that connect the utilities and everything else that connects into the resident-owned homes. So what is actually valued, if I want to dissect that number, but not with great detail, but just to get an understanding, what is actually worth 340 if the land is the balance? Because we're buying it for 420 and you're allowed for building costs of 340. So what is the value of 340?
So what the IRS does is they just ask you to be reasonable when it comes to a land value. So normally it's going to be somewhere between 10 and 20%. 10% is going to be your very rural areas that are not that desirable. 20% is going to be your cities, your New York City, Beverly Hills, LA, Miami, things like that are going to be in the 20% because land has higher value. It doesn't matter how big the property is, how many acres, and things like that. It's all about what is around you. What kind of infrastructure do you have around in terms of a city, high rent district, things like that. So yes, people might associate your roads, your landscaping, your the pads where the homes are. Those are not land. Those are considered your property, which is going to go into the building cost. So even though you only own the property itself and not the physical homes, the physical homes are looked at differently anyhow because they are not in the ground. The IRS says if you can pick up a home and move it to somewhere else, it's not going to be considered for something like this as well. So you're not really losing out much by not owning the homes because the homes can pick up and move and go away. So yes, the land is just a reasonable estimation here. Whenever we decide to move forward with this study collectively between me, you, and your CPA, we'll come up with a happy number for the land value. But this was just an estimate for the analysis purposes, but it's a conservative estimate. So it should be 340 or higher.
Great. Thank you, Boomer. And let us, listeners and people who watch this video on YouTube, let them know how they can get hold of you if they want to get an assessment done or preliminary understanding of what the property could be cost segregated.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we do is I'm going to basically ask you 4 questions. When did you buy the property? What was the purchase price? Have you done any renovations or improvements to it? If so, how much did you spend and what is the address? With that, I can take that information, give it to our engineers, put together a no-cost analysis for you, and then we can talk about your individual tax situation to figure out if it's going to make sense or not. So simply, you can reach out to me by phone or text. My phone number is 812-639-0656. My email is just my first and last name, boomerphilbrick@gmail.com. Or you can find me on Facebook at Cost Segregation Boomer. Reach out any of those methods if you want to just learn more about what cost segregation is, how it can help you on your current properties you're looking at, things like that. But basically, the reason that we're talking about this and having this discussion before you close on the property is that we want to have all your ducks in a row. So whenever you're a week out from closing, we can set up a time for us to come out to the property, for us to look at the property right when you bought it. And then anything that you do going forward in terms of renovations and improvements, we will look at those separately versus your original purchase. So the earlier we can get in on a property, the better. But I'm here to be an educator, number one. So if you have any questions, simply reach out, contact me at any of those methods, and I'd be happy to have a discussion with you. And it's always a lot easier to understand when you have something tangible in front of you that directly applies to you. So yeah, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm here to help out in any way that I can.
Thank you, Boomer. And we highly recommend using Boomer's company. We've been using him for a number of years and referred a lot of clients to Boomer. So if you do need anything, reach out to Boomer and make sure to click on the link below in this video and visit our free education section on the MIHmastermind.com website, under the education tab to watch more videos about multifamily, about mobile home park investing. We got some great resources there. See you soon. Make it happen.